Aristotle, in his famous work Poetics, describes what is known as the tragic hero. A tragic hero is someone who causes his own downfall because of a small error in judgment, because of a fatal flaw, which is called hamartia. I just finished watching Breaking Bad for the fourth time, and I can tell you, Walter White is the Aristotelian tragic hero. So, what is Walter White's hamartia? What is it that causes his downfall? What causes his destruction? What causes the destruction of his life as he knew it? It's not greed, it is pride. Walter White is the epitome of pride. He is the proudest man ever portrayed on television. He is so proud, he refuses to take charity from his friends, Elliot and Gretchen, when he is diagnosed with cancer. He hates being an ordinary school teacher in spite of being so brilliant with chemistry. He hates being financially dependent on others. And not just in financial matters, he does not like giving Jesse Pinkman the credit. He is always controlling him. He is always working him. He is always manipulating him. And he does not like someone else being more powerful than him. Gus Fring, for example. He doesn't like Gus Fring. That's why you know what happens to him. And overall, I think this anyone else controlling his destiny, he hates it. He does not like anyone controlling him, no matter what. This pride is what eventually causes his downfall. Let's look at it. As I just said, he doesn't just want money, he wants control, he wants significance, he wants, being the most important guy in any situation. So, speaking in Aristotelian terms, the tragedy here is not a good man becoming evil. It is a brilliant man destroying himself because he cannot tolerate being ordinary. He does not want to be ordinary. His intelligence, confidence, ambition, determination, all these things eventually cause his downfall. Things that make him great also destroy him. The more we speak about Bryan Cranston's acting while portraying Walter White, the less it is. You cannot praise that man enough. Forget about that. But if you look at it from a cinematic perspective, in the initial seasons, you will see that Walter White is dwarfed by his surroundings. If you put him in a crowd, you will not even recognize that this is the guy. This is the guy who eventually becomes Heisenberg. He's a very simple, ordinary man. And even if you look at his eyes, they are also very soft, very kind, and they are like, so there is some empathy in them. You see that he's a kind man if you look at his eyes normally. But towards the end, fifth season, towards the end of fourth season, he goes apeshit crazy. Unbelievable acting. You will not see even an iota of kindness in his eyes. He's always plotting, always conniving, always trying to get something done, always manipulating. He becomes that, that brutal guy. And even Vince Gilligan, the frames around Walter White, right? In the beginning, they are like very ordinary, he get mixed up in the crowd very easily. And he's not very. One of the reasons I consider Vince Gilligan a genius is because how the visual language emerges through the seasons as we progress towards the fourth and fifth seasons. How everything changes around Walter White, not just to enhance that image of his the ambitious, deterministic guy, to portray that the way he changes his surroundings, the way his angles are framed, like there are low angle shots and there are. He's just a towering personality in any frame. The centered compositions, the symmetry, that everything that possibly can be done to put Walter White in a position of power within that frame, Vince Gilligan has done it. And actually, the camera begins to see Walter White and show us Walter White the way Walter White sees himself. Walter White sees himself as this tour de force, right? The camera also tries its best to do that, and the brain behind that is Vince Gilligan. I would go as far as saying that the visual language used by Vince Gilligan not just shows us his transformation, it participates in the transformation process. I have always believed that the unknown hero of Better Call Saul and Breaking Bad is the cinematographer. The kind of frames, the kind of storytelling, it's just unbelievable. I have not seen a show before that or since then that has used camera to the extent in the story as part of storytelling the way Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul, the way it is in these two shows. Can you believe a guy 2360 years ago explained Walter White's downfall in a theory, and Walter White fits in that template, exactly as Aristotle intended. So in summary, Walter White is the perfect tragic hero as described by Aristotle, and his hamartia is his pride, the thing that actually destroys him in the end.